Asuza Kubota, Resident Representative UNDP, distinguished panelists and moderator for the panel discussion, colleagues from the UN, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, let me thank the UNDP for inviting me to speak at the launch of the Human Development Report 2020 in Bhutan. I have the pleasure of congratulating UNDP for the timely launch of the report. On behalf of the Royal Government of Bhutan, I extend deep appreciation to the work undertaken by UNDP here in Bhutan and around the world. I also take this opportunity to extend my good wishes to Mr. Akim Steiner, the UNDP Administrator. Since 1990, UNDP's Human Development Reports have inspired new development paradigms and influenced policies to put people at the center of development. 30 years later, as UNDP strives to forge a new frontier with HDR 2020, suggesting pathways to advance human development in the Anthropocene, the importance of reimagining the human development journey cannot be stressed enough. The 2020 HDR, with the theme The Next Frontier, Human Development and the Anthropocene, comes at a time when the world is reeling under the COVID-19 pandemic. The report is a timely message to the world that the enormous strains that we are exerting on planet Earth are resulting in destabilization of the very systems we rely on. As the report aptly suggests, human development should not happen at the expense of the planet. There is enough evidence reminding us of the perils of pursuing human development at the cost of the planet. Transformation in the pathways to human development is called for where humans and the planet thrive together. This resonates strongly with Bhutan's development philosophy of gross national happiness. Guided by our successive visionary monarchs, Bhutan continues to accord high importance to the health of our natural ecosystems. Our rich and pristine environment stands testimony to that. As we all know, GNH aims to achieve a balance between the well-being of our people and economic growth. It is also striving for social progress that is in harmony with nature. Therefore, I have no inhibitions in saying that Bhutan long chose a human development path that is in balance with the planet, one that the HDR 2020 advocates for in moving forward. In fact, it is encouraging to note that the HDR 2020 recognizes Bhutan's commitments towards remaining carbon neutral for all times. Bhutan is named as one of the Asian countries demonstrating support for a trajectory that balances the pursuit of economic growth with planetary considerations. We thank UNDP for this recognition. We are in an unprecedented moment in the history of our planet, with eminent threats challenging the survival of the planet and all lives that depend on it. The COVID-19 pandemic has clearly shown us that the progress of humans is immaterial if we do not live in harmony with nature. Under this light, the report has identified three crucial building blocks to create real, lasting change, working with nature through nature-based solutions, improving incentives, and changing social norms, which in my view are very commendable. On nature-based solutions, the report identifies 20 nature-based solutions that could deliver 37% of the emission reductions needed by 2030 to keep temperature rise below 2 degrees centigrade. Around two-thirds of that mitigation are linked to forest pathways, mainly reforestation and improved forest management, areas where Bhutan has done fairly well. Bhutan embarked on the journey of conservation as early as the 1960s in tandem with the initiation of a 5-year development cycle. The need to conserve our forest and nature is codified in our Trimjung Chembo, the supreme law enacted in 1959. Bhutan designated Manas Wildlife Sanctuary as the first protected area in 1966. Today, the country has around 70% of the total area under forest and 51.4% of the total area secured as protected areas and biological corridors. We continue to remain committed to protecting and conserving our environment, backed by constitutional mandate of maintaining 60% forest cover at all times and carbon neutral commitment. Our forest sequesters more than two-thirds of our emissions that has global benefits. Besides mitigation of greenhouse gas emissions, forests also provide other ecological benefits such as habitats for an extensive range of diversity, fresh water, and livelihood for many of our rural communities. We have already initiated ecotourism initiatives, payment for ecosystem schemes, and we look forward to upscaling these initiatives. We are determined to stay the sustainable course, and we hope to stimulate greater global ambition for more nature by 2030. On incentives, we have embarked on the preparation of the second NDC with the support of UNDP, which is progressive and ambitious in targets geared towards contributing to the global goal of 1.5 degrees centigrade. Organizing one of the world's toughest marathon, the Snowman Trek, later this year, we aspire to bring the world's attention to climate change and its impacts, particularly on the lives of people living in fragile mountain ecosystems. Our collaboration with UNDP on implementing climate resilient agriculture in Bhutan is another important testament of our climate collaboration. Similarly, Bhutan, as the LDC chair at the UNFCCC climate negotiations, has led and facilitated 47 least developing countries in enhancing their climate efforts towards mitigating the adverse climate change impacts. On social norms, the COVID-19 pandemic has taught us that a buy-in from all people, including our youth, is a must in order to achieve our goal. It is therefore important for leaders and policymakers to make these lessons learned and consider innovative ways in bringing everyone on board. In Bhutan, the pandemic has given us the opportunity to re-look at our policies and devise appropriate strategies going forward. Sustainability and efficient use of available resource is critical. The way our youth have taken up agriculture and construction work, which was shunned in the past, has given us hope that our future is in safe hands. This has been possible all due to the exemplary leadership provided by His Majesty the King, which has inspired our people to support the government's initiatives. Bhutanese youth also have the capacity and the courage to embrace frontier technologies which can subsequently contribute towards the national goal of achieving self-reliance. The launch of the Accelerator Lab initiative and a series of Bhutan dialogues by UNDP to drive innovation and creativity in the country will greatly contribute towards realizing the need and benefit of innovative solutions for sustainable development. We need to get going since business as usual may not take us very far. In closing, I would like to congratulate UNDP once again for the successful launch of the HDR globally and in Bhutan. As 2021 marks the 50th anniversary of Bhutan UN partnership, on behalf of the Royal Government of Bhutan, I wish to take this opportunity to thank the UN for being our steadfast partner in development for the last 5 decades. I'm confident that the UN system is here to stay, continuing to have meaningful impacts on the lives of Bhutanese people even as we move into the decade of climate actions and transition into a middle-income country. I thank you and Tashidile.